To solve cosine x equals 1/2, I'm wanting to find all the values that when you take the cosine of that number, you get 1/2 to be the answer. So a good place to start might be with the cosine graph. So let's mark off a few units on our number line. And then think back to what the cosine graph looks like. It starts at 1, goes to 0, goes to -1, goes to 0, goes back up to +1. So there is one cycle of the cosine graph. Now realize that this graph continues indefinitely. So we're trying to find all the values for which cosine is equal to 1/2. So if I look where a half is, there would be an answer right here, there would be an answer right here, there would be an answer right here, and right here, and back on this side, and we can continue doing that. So I can see that there would be infinitely many x's for which the cosine of x is equal to 1/2. So to think about this problem, we know that the cosine is periodic, and the period of the cosine is equal to 2 pi. So let's find the values between 0 and 2 pi, and then we can add 2 pi to them to get all the other coterminal angles that will work to give you a cosine of x equal to 1/2. So there are many ways to do this. You could think back to your unit circle. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to think about my special right triangles, and I'm trying to find an angle theta where the cosine is 1/2. Cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. By the Pythagorean theorem, this side would be the square root of 3, and so I can recognize that that triangle, theta, has to be equal to 60 degrees, which in radians is equal to pi over 3. So this value, where cosine is equal to 1/2, is pi over 3. And that's my first quadrant answer, pi over 3. I also know that cosine is positive in the fourth quadrant, and I can also see that from my diagram. This would be the fourth quadrant, and so I should get an answer there. And if you remember what we learned about reference angles, if I'm in the fourth quadrant and my reference angle is pi over 3, then to get the answer, I'm going to take 2 pi and subtract pi over 3. So if we get a common denominator of 3, the answer will turn out to be 5 pi over 3. So if this problem had asked me to solve in between 0 and 2 pi, then the answers would be x equals pi over 3, x equals 5 pi over 3. If the question asked me to find all the solutions for which cosine of x equals 1/2, then my answer would be pi over 3 and anything coterminal to pi over 3. And so I'm going to write that as plus 2n pi, where n is an integer. And 5 pi over 3 would be 5 pi over 3 plus 2n pi. So these are all the solutions to this equation, while these two are the solutions that fall in between 0 and 2 pi.